Hey guys, this is going to be my review of the Hinderer XM-18. Now, before I get into details here, I just want to start off by saying that this has got to be, hands down, my favorite folder of all time. And, I mean, that's at least out of the ones that I've owned, but I haven't really come across another knife that I could foresee kicking this out of my pocket. I've had this knife on me every day since March when I bought it at the East Coast Custom Knife Show. And I swapped it out with my SNG a couple of times just for the sake of carrying something different, but I mean 98% of the time this has been, what I've been carrying. But I mean, there's plenty of good reasons behind it, and it's really just a culmination of all these different features that I look for in a knife, and this knife has them all, for my preferences at least. What you look for in a knife, of course, is going to vary. You might have the same tastes, in which case I'd highly recommend you pick up this knife. Now, out of all the different styles of knives, I think my favorite has got to be titanium frame locks. I don't really know why. I think it's just because I like beefier knives. I like, hefty folder that I really feel like I could depend on if I really had to. Now, granted, most of the people, including myself, who own these knives, will never put them through as much hard use as they can handle, or, really put them to their limit. And I think that's sort of the draw for me with titanium frame locks, is that nothing I throw at this thing is going to break it or, damage it. It's really just a tank of a knife. But, one other knife that I have that's also pretty hefty build is the Strider SNG, which I just did a review on not too long ago. But the thing with that knife is, as tough and sturdy as it is, it doesn't really have that sort of finesse and really sort of fine-tuned feel to it that, other high-end knives have. Like, for example, a Chris Reeve Sebenza. That's sort of, I guess, the gold standard when it comes to fit and finish and just overall quality in a knife. And that's a big reference point for most collectors, is the Sebenza. But I have to tell you, I have owned a Sebenza, and I do own this now, and this puts the Sebenza to shame. And I know I might get crap for that, but in my opinion, it does. This is smoother than my Sebenza ever was, and all of the Sebenzas I've handled were not as smooth as this knife. Now, you have to bear in mind that the XM-18 does not have some revolutionary bearing system. It does not have, a spring in there helping it deploy the blade. It's Teflon washers, and that's it. I mean, that's pretty much the simplest of, I guess, guts for a knife pivot. Phosphor bronze washers are often regarded as, the better of the two between Teflon and bronze, but after owning this, I'm thinking that Teflon washers are the way to go with a knife. I mean, this thing just flicks open effortlessly. I can't talk today, sorry about that. But, yeah, it deploys beautifully. And this knife also doesn't have a crazy strong detent, so it's not like it's working off all that pressure from the detent holding the blade. I mean, that knife blade will pop open relatively easily, but it's just a joy to operate, and you can see how smooth it is there. You can kind of flick it closed. Let me bring this into focus over here. Yeah, but you disengage that lock, get the detent passed, and you can literally just nudge it closed like that with very little effort, and it's a ridiculously smooth knife. That's got to be one of my most, I guess, my top features in this knife. That's what I like the most, I think. Just how crazy smooth it is and how fun it is to deploy. But, yeah, another thing, again, going back to CRK, that people really rave about is the Chris Reeve fit and finish. And, again, I had a Sebenza, and I did own it while I had this knife. And this knife is just as good, if not better, than a Sebenza. I mean, everything fits beautifully. There are no flaws on it, and it's just an incredibly well-made piece. And bear in mind, if you saw my collection video, part 2, this is not the scale that came with it. Alright? This is a scale, still made by Hinderer, but bought separately from this knife. This is the one that came on it. But, you know, even after putting on a scale that was not fit to this particular knife, the fit and finish is still absolutely perfect. You can see there. Beautiful fit and finish. The jimping all lines up perfectly. No gaps with the liners or anything. You can see I've got some scratches on the blade. I do use this knife. I mean, some people don't think of knives this expensive as being, you know, usable, or not usable, but being users. And I definitely like using this knife. Like I said, carry it every day. Now, another thing I love about these knives that, I mean, it is mentioned but not really talked about very much in the reviews. I just love how you can change these knives up. Not very many knives out there are modular, so to speak, where you can change the scale, you can change, you know, the pocket clip, the filler tab, and you can even pay. I mean, yeah, you have to pay, but you can even have the lock side titanium anodized. So you could have it anodized in this bronze color, or you can get a blue color, I believe, is available as well. And it's also available in a variety of finishes. When you buy the knife, they won't change the finish for you, but when you buy the knife, there's sandblasted, which is this, there's bead blasted, and stonewashed titanium. And I believe all three of those finishes are also available on the blade. So right off the bat, there's a few different options that you can get when you're, you know, picking up one of these knives. And, you know, from there you can really personalize it, make it your own. This knife originally had this black scale, and it had this basic sandblasted titanium clip and filler. And put those on there, the bronze anodized ones. And it really kind of just makes the knife your own, which is, I love that feature, you know? It's unique. I also made this scale for it out of orange and black G10. I have a bunch of this stuff, or had. I don't have any more, but made this scale for it, and I think it looks pretty sweet, just for fun. But yeah, there's endless combinations that you can do with these knives. There's flipper, non-flipper. There's also two different grinds, the Spanto grind and a slicer grind. Personally, my preference is the Spanto, although I have not owned a slicer grind. But just by handling them and comparing them side by side, I really do like the aesthetics and the shape of the Spanto blade, as far as the geometry goes. And I mean, essentially that's about it. I mean, there are things to be said about Hinderer's pricing, but I'm trying not to mention that in this video, just for the sake of keeping it a review of the knife itself rather than, you know, the secondary market. But if any of you would, you know, if you have any questions regarding pricing, feel free to comment below and I'll answer you. But just wanted to keep it out of the video. But bottom line here, people, if you like titanium frame locks or even just quality knives in general, if you have the opportunity to pick one of these up and you can afford it, I highly recommend that you do. Yeah, they're kind of expensive on the secondary market, but I absolutely love this thing, and I would buy another one, honestly, if I had the opportunity. And really, they're just incredible knives. I can't say enough about how amazing they are. But anyway, that is the Hinderer XM-18, and thank you guys for watching.